Today I would like to talk about beginning fishing. You want to get organized. The first thing you want to do is get a tackle box. You can start off small if you like. As you go along and you start acquiring more and more lures and weights and what have you, you can grow into something bigger. Like something I've got. I got this from Cabela's. It's got many sleeves in it. Put all your lures in here. Need to get a little bit more organized myself, but flaps open with little pieces that you can, little drawers you can slide in to whatever size your lures will fit in. And as you go along and start acquiring more, you can start adding on to your collection. And it depends on what you're fishing for. So mine is mostly walleye and a little bit of catfishing, wiper. Wiper is part of the bass family, so I've got a couple of bass lures in there. And it's mostly walleye. So walleye here, fuzzy tail grubs, 16 ounce, floating jig heads. You put on your line to so when you tie your line on, it'll float. Spinning jig heads here, so it's whatever they're biting on that day. You have to try different things. Here are bottom rock walkers. Put this on the line and it slides up and down your line. Keeps you from getting stuck. So it almost looks like a foot. Flat on the bottom. And you put that on with the barrel swivel, and then you'll have your leader, which would be, I don't know, I use 8-pound line for walleye. You have your main line, which this is attached to, then your barrel swivel, and then your leader, and that'll float. That'll float somewhere in here. It'll float, and put your worm or leech on there. It'll float when you get to the bottom, and just walk along the bottom, and the fish will see it and will bite it, hopefully. You've got different shapes and sizes and different colors. I heard chartreuse was a good one. That's chartreuse there, with a little bit of orange. That's something that looks like a tube bait. These work as well. It's good for crappie also. Crappie, maybe bluegill. So that's universal. You got a weighted jig heads. Again, some more chartreuse colors. These are weighted. You can jig if you're in the boat, or if you're on the bank. You can cast out and bounce it off the bottom. Like I said, you're more versatile in a boat, so it all depends on if you're on the bank or if you're. It's different setup. If you're on the bank or if you're in a boat, you want to use different techniques to get your result and catch fish. Here's a soft bait. You just put your jig head on there and swim it or bounce it off the bottom. Different things. And also you want to, it depends on what you're fishing for. So well, depending on your line weight. Line weight for walleye is normally 8 pounds. For something very light, they're very elusive, so you don't want them to see it, because if they see it, they won't. If they see the line, they won't normally bite it. If they're real hungry, they may, but you don't want a real thick line for walleye. They have a decent bite, but they're not like a bass or maybe a catfish. Catfish don't care. You can use 50 pounds, 100-pound line if you want to with catfish. But for walleye, you want to use maybe 8 pounds, 10 pounds if you're using a bottom walker, such as one of these guys. And you have a harness that connects here, and the bottom walker walks along the bottom. Tie your main line here. You got your harness back here, and you walk along the bottom, and it swims and tie up it's either a leech or a worm on your harness. But this is another bottom work. I probably use 10 pounds because got a little bit of weight there, plus you got to fight the current, so it's a little bit more weight than, so I'll probably do more than 8 pounds if you're using one of these. It does the same thing as, just about does the same thing as the bottom walker, this guy here. Pretty much the same thing, except this has a harness to it. And you got a leader, I don't know, it's probably about 3 foot leader with a spinner on it. Get organized, everything in one spot. You know what drawer it's in, you can go ahead and just grab it and go. I've got several drawers still working on my arsenal. Just need to get a little bit more organized. Got bass baits in here, lures, some of these I haven't even tried yet. Got poppers, top water bait. That guy is splashes the water. This blue, I think it's baby blue eyes. This one's good. They like this for some reason. I guess it looks like a shad. But I've got pretty good hits off of here. Got to use it more. Like I said, all depends on if you're on the bank or if you're in a boat. But you got some soft baits here. Got to try these as well. I think I tried it once and maybe gotten one bite off of it. Come in different colors, different sizes. Supposed to catch some everything off of it. This one here, you can pop it and it will shimmy down like a dead fish, like a fish when he's trying to catch his breath or if he's hurt in distress. Come down, it'll wobble as such, all kind of crazy different ways, and they'll see it. It's got a little bit spoon on it, if you can see that. That's supposed to work very well as well. So depending on what you are fishing for and where, as a matter of fact, are you on the bank or are you in a boat? All that matters when it comes to getting the result and catching fish. Like I said, you go anywhere from 8 pounds to wiper. I don't think they care about line, but go as light as you can, but with the strength. From what I understand, you don't want to go too light because it depends on wiper fight. Wiper, they put up a very good fight. They will tear your pole up if you let them. So it's better prepared to have a good backbone, which is your pole, and then a good line weight, and go as light as you can without them breaking it. Walleye don't want to see it. Wiper, I don't think they care. They just grab. It's better if they can't. Some people like monofilament, and some people like braided line. I've got a little both on there, so get a tackle box, get organized. Get a few things in here. Put your sprays in here. You can put everything in my. You got a scale. Forgot a scale that you can use. So when you catch it, you make sure and get a. Got a worm threader. You put the worm in there. Put it through the necklace. I call it around the neck, and put it right through the middle of it. It goes through your hook and all the way up to your line. So just putting a worm on the line and around the hook and just at the bottom, you lose a lot more. But if you have it in line with the line and the hook, you get a lot better strikes and you catch more fish that way. Like I said, you start off small, and once you start acquiring more, you start getting some sleeves or drawers and acquiring more and trying different things. Here's a walleye setup with different colors. You got some orange baits here. You got some white curly tail grubs. It looks like a little metal flake in there, sparkles. Some little green, black, blue. So you just have to try different things. This looks like a shad. It's yellow. Put a jig head on there and just go. Here's another one. Oh, it's lost it. You got pink. You got double tail, curly tail grub. That's two tails on there. Give it a little bit more action, a little flutter. And you put a jig head on there and swim it as such. Like this guy, put a jig head on it whatever color you like to match it up with, and swim it. So as you can tell, I fish more so for walleye, and like I said, some wiper, bluegill is good. Mostly warm to cool water is what I like to fish for. Warm water would be catfish, cool water is walleye, which we'll get into that a little later. But yeah, get organized. Start off small with a little tackle box, and as you acquire more, you can start graduating something more. I haven't even filled up all of my sleeves. They're all empty, so I'm going to have to do some accessorizing. But for the first video for starters, that's what I would say. Get some hooks, get some weights. Get some hooks, get some weights. I got some sliders, egg weights, anywhere from 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce, so you can get out there if you're on the bank. You won't need that much weight if you're in a boat. Split shots normally work, especially if you're just jigging. Put a weighted jig head on there and bounce it off the bottom. But the first thing is get organized. Get a few things, know what you're fishing for, and that way you can set up your pole, know what kind of pole that you will need for that type of fish, as well as the line. As I have mentioned before, with your weights, got bale weights in here, some small ones, maybe about 1/8 of an ounce. Got some split shots in here. You definitely need those, especially if you're using a bobber. Those help out, especially like I said, if you're in a boat, you don't need that much weight. So you could put these guys on maybe 1 foot above your leader or above your barrel swivel, and then another foot above that. Can't say what size these are, maybe 1/16 of an ounce. Here's your slider weight, egg weight. These slide. These are good for catfish or just about anything. I like fishing with these more than anything. They don't get hung up that much. You could, if you get up under a rock, it'll get up under there, but these work so when you got the main line going through there, through the hole, and once the fish starts taking it, you won't feel it because it starts sliding. You know, unlike these other ones where it's fixed. This is fixed, unless you rig it to slide, but these are made for sliding, so it'll slide once they take off. With the bait, they'll pull it, and this will slide along with it, so they can't feel it, and you'll catch a lot more fish that way. Split shots are good. Like I said, if you're using a bobber in a boat, of course, it's got a cut more or less, got a line through it. You just put your line through that little slit, and then you squeeze it, and that's how it stays connected to your line. And that way you can put a little bit more weight on it if you're going a little deeper, and they won't get down there that fast, so you have to use a little bit more weight, but try to go as light as possible if you can. Slider weights, got some more bottom bouncers here. These are very light as well. Put your main line on there, along with a barrel swivel again, because they'll turn. You don't get your line wrapped up. If they all fish like to pretty much turn, catfish definitely like to do it. But you get your line twisted up and put knots in it. So a barrel swivel is very good for that. I'll try to locate some of those jig heads for some of your soft baits. It's flat, looks like a head. You can paint them if you want. Some come painted already. This one does not. But again, just more ways to get organized. This was another weight. You can snap this onto your line, and it's a different setup, but you can barely feel it. Where you put it on your main line and snap it on, and the fish will have a leader coming off like a crappie rig, and this is what these are for, so they can barely feel it. I'll show you that later on. Here's another weighted jig head. It's flat on the bottom. You can see that. It's flat on the bottom. So bounce, get a worm or your leech is coming off of here, or a soft bait, and just bounce it along the bottom, and like so. and the fish will see it. It kind of hangs up at the top there, off the bottom. You just gotta work it back. Take your pole and just work it back, and it'll drag along the bottom, or you can bounce it like so with your bait on the other end. And you gotta look here so it stays a little barbel there. Put your soft bait on so it doesn't slide off. So those are some good baits that you can use. Main line stack attaches right here to the top of the head. And again, it's flat so it doesn't roll. Just pop it off the bottom with your fishing pole. A lot of techniques, different things to do you can try. So it helps to be in a boat, but you can definitely do it if you're in a bank as well. Just it's a different setup, different way of doing things. Inside here, got some more things here. More hooks, good walleye hookers. I like using number 6s. That's a little small. 6s, some are turned. I'll show you, it's kind of bent. A different way if you can see that. It's kind of bent. That's for when the fish bites it, gets it in his mouth, it'll turn. You see that it's bent? So when he bites it, it'll turn and go towards the corner of his mouth, like so. It'll turn on him. I forget what they call these, but it's bent. It's not exactly straight, but he'll bite it and it'll turn. He'll take off. They like to turn. Really, once they bite it, make a turn, that gets hooked right in their mouth. Gotta try these. Got a new year coming up. Gonna try some new things, different things, stuff I've acquired and haven't gotten a chance to use yet. But like I said, number 6s are pretty decent for walleye. I really like to use Gamakatsu hooks, equipment. The wiring gauge is very thick. It's not too thin. Sometimes the hook will get stretched out if it's not good quality. But Gamakatsu has very good quality. They're really thick. I like them. You can try different ones out. Like I said, Gamakatsu has very thick, rigid hooks where you don't get straightened out on you. But these, got some white ones, some red ones. Red kind of represents blood, but white so you can see it. That's a number 6 as well. Kind of look like circle hooks. Those work. I like circle hooks. But you got different hooks to like I said, different techniques, different setups. So what you're fishing for, soft baits. It's another number 6 green. But you have different hooks for different techniques. Put soft baits on, and depending on your rigging, the hook is made for it. Here's another weighted jig head. I don't know how we got in here. But if you could, just try different things out. Like I said, this is a weighted jig head. That's made out of lead, I believe, still. And you put your soft bait on there, and like a curly tail grub or something like that. And let's see if I got one. Turtle grub here. I like to try to match mine up a little better than just throwing it on there, but let's just see if we go with white. So you got white, you can throw it on there. Like I said, this one has a little barbel too, it's a little smaller. But let's go ahead and put the hook through center there. Come out the other end. Push it all the way up there to the neck. Like so, and you're ready. And your line leader goes here. If you're fishing with a big line, and say braided line, you would want to use a leader less than the main line. So if your main line is say 20, you want to use monofilament to where they can't see it. Braided line normally has colors to it and stronger, but just in case you get hung up, that stuff is strong, so it'll be difficult to, if you get caught on the log or something, you pull it and you won't lose your tackle. Depending on what setup you do have, you won't lose your tackle, and you'll break the monofilament or clear line, your leader, you'll break that off, might lose a hook, but you won't be able to, your braided line is very strong, so in order to release yourself, if you do get stuck, you can break your leader, which is less than your main line. Like I said, if you have 20-pound braided line on there, you want to go less, maybe go 10 to 15 on your leader. I'll show you that a little bit later on when I get into your reels and your poles. I like braided line. You can get some really good stuff out there. Cast King has some good braided line, 4 and 8 strand, very strong stuff. It's very thin but very strong. It casts real good. It's real light. I was fishing with a monofilament there for a while, and the sun can really beat it up. You don't want to leave your poles or anything out directly in the sun other than fishing. But leaving them in the car and in the trunk and stuff, that heat will weaken it and makes it brittle. Even brand new line will decline over a certain amount of time. So braided line, you really don't have to worry about that. Still wouldn't recommend it, but at least getting it wet, getting it dry, getting it wet, it won't break it down like that monofilament. So braided line is very good. Just go with a leader that's less than your main line. I've got 15-pound line, feels like it's 8-pound diameter. Although they're getting better. They're getting better with the monofilament. You got some monofilament that is thicker, is thinner, like XL, extra limp. XT is extra tough, as for abrasion resistant, for you know, jigging or coming across rocks. It won't nick up your line that much. So they're getting better. Got 12-pound extra limp on one of my bait casters. Is trying to decide what I'm going to use it for. You can cast and reel with it, or you can bounce off the bottom. Like I said earlier, you can use the bottom walkers on it. That'll be very good for trolling if you're in a boat, or like I said, just casting and reeling. But it's softer, still has the strength of 12 pounds without the thick cable feeling. It's thinner with the strength, and that's what we're looking for. So we'll get into more a little bit later. But right now, like I said, just get organized, get your hooks together. Got little bass weights in here for, I think it's Texas or Colorado rig. Sounds like a crawdad. Hits these beads at the end of your line. Goes through your main line, and every time you pick it up, it'll hit the little glass bead at the end, and so it makes a sound. It's supposed to attract more fish. So it's gonna be exciting. Like I said, it all depends on if you're a boat. If you're in a boat, you can do a lot more things. It's more versatile. You can go to the fish as opposed to waiting for them to come to you or if you're on the bank. Here's another hook. Can't remember what this is called, but tie your main line onto it. And of course you've got a leader. You put your leader on there. And this is good for walleye as well. I think it may work with other fish, but I'll show you how to use that and later on in the video. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you.